Hi, everybody. Joe Cioffi here. Weather in 5 days, 5 minutes. Coming up tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. For the seventh day out of the last eight, we have elevated severe weather risk throughout the plain states. The weather in the east is mostly on the quiet side. And we'll talk about where we are going over the next few days and the weekend. That's tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. And that's at 7:35 p.m. Eastern time. So, as we pointed out, it's going to be another day where we're dealing with some rough weather in parts of the plains. At least this morning, we have flood watches up for a large portion of East Texas into Louisiana, and other than that, it's pretty quiet. A couple of leftover spots of winter in northwestern Montana, where we have a few counties under winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories. The higher up you go, the better the chance. But this is small potatoes, really. It's not any kind of a big storm. And in the east, well, some areas woke up to some patchy fog in the Appalachians and down along the Gulf Coast, but up and down the eastern seaboard and back through the Great Lakes, we have no weather issues to worry about, no watches or warnings. Now, the weather front from last night has moved on through, and we still have a little bit of patchy leftover cloudiness this morning, but we should gradually break out to some sunshine. I think it'll be no worse than partly sunny today. It'll be a warmish type of day with temperatures in the 70s. And we are probably going to see a few warm spots get up close to 80 degrees for highs. You can see some overnight thunderstorms in parts of Oklahoma, but the amount of activity that's going on this morning is rather minimal. It's going to pick up as we go through the afternoon. And you can see on the radar some leftover showers in southeastern New England as of 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Those will be gone before too long. Also, some showers off the North Carolina coast. We've got some rain in the northernmost part of the Great Lakes with some heavier downpours and a thunderstorm or two there, and some patchy moisture up in the northwest. The Storm Prediction Center for today, as we said, this is the seventh time in 8 days that we're seeing elevated severe weather risk and tornado risk for either the plains or the Mississippi Valley. Today, it's bit more to the west, so it's mostly in the southern and central plains where we have a slight to enhanced risk of severe weather from Texas up into southern Nebraska, and that comes with a 2 to 5% tornado risk. The upside is, yeah, there's risk for tomorrow from central Texas northeastward up into Iowa and into northwestern Illinois, but for now it appears to be a marginal risk with just a smaller chance of a 2% elevated tornado risk in parts of northeast Kansas, extending up into northwestern Illinois. And then as we head up into day three, we're seeing just a small area of marginal risk, again, concentrated in Kansas and over into Nebraska and back down into Oklahoma. The rainfall with this, where there's going to be a problem, is going to be in parts of Texas. And as we take a look at the rainfall forecast map, this is on top of all the rain that they've had in the last week. In some area, it's very uneven, but there will be a concentration of 3 inch plus rainfalls from East Texas into northwestern Louisiana. And for the next 7 days, the middle of the country still remains the beneficiary, or maybe not, that's not the right word, but this is the area that's going to continue to see heavy rainfalls of an inch and a half to 3 inches. And of course, with thunderstorms in some places, it could easily be double that. Heavy rains for the Pacific Northwest, maybe some mountain snows up in the Cascades. And you can see this is the probability for at least 4 inches, and it's mostly confined to a few small areas in Montana and northwest Wyoming, and a small area of the Cascades. So, as far as our weather here in the east is concerned, this front is through. There's not a much of a dry push behind it, but there's enough for us to have a decent day today. We have a low moving from the northern parts of the Great Lakes on the Canada side that's going to be moving southeastward into New England during the day on Thursday. That's going to bring showers there. It's also going to turn the winds more northwesterly for tomorrow. So, with no worse than partly sunny skies, eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England will have its warmest day of the next several. with temperatures probably reaching the upper 70s and lower 80s in many locations away from the ocean. Meanwhile, you can see more thunderstorms going on in the plains and in the Mississippi Valley on Thursday. Friday looks good in the east, more of an onshore flow. So I think it'd be one of these situations where it gets cloudy overnight and then it goes partly sunny during the day. And temperatures will probably be mostly in the 60s on Friday. By the time we get to Saturday, it's more of a dirty high and more of an onshore flow. So at that point, we'll probably see more clouds, and that'll also hold temperatures down in the 60s. And here comes a cold front, and it looks like the high will hold on. We'll start to see some showers coming in late Saturday afternoon, and more than likely Saturday evening and overnight into Sunday until that weather system clears, and then another dry high builds in for the first part of next week. So it's kind of a pattern where things are moving along, but it's the middle of spring, which means we're under the influence of ocean flow from time to time. And sometimes those stretches can last more than several days. So those are the problems that we're going to have to deal with. But for the most part, from today right into at least let's say the first half of Saturday, it should be okay. And Sunday, let's call it on and off showery rains. All right, we'll of course go over this all again and to also see the severe weather that'll probably be underway this evening up and down the plains on tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time.